Hi everyone, my name is Matt Saunders. I'm an assistant professor in plant ecophysiology in the botany discipline within the School of Natural Sciences, and I'm also the course coordinator for the Environmental Sciences degree here in Trinity. I want to talk to you today about the program itself. And environmental science is a multidisciplinary academic field, and this is reflected by the staff that teach onto this program. Staff from the Centre for the Environment, from the zoology, botany, geography, geology, and engineering disciplines all contribute to teaching on this program. And the subject area covers the complex interactions between the biological, chemical, and physical components of our environment. And it's very important to address this from a multidisciplinary academic field so that environmental scientists and graduates that come out of this program have the skill set that's required to address some of the key environmental and societal challenges of our time, addressing big picture problems and questions such as climate change and the sustainable development of production systems, looking at how our ecosystem services and the natural capital they provide are being degraded by how we use different land cover classes, for example. Looking at aspects of different biogeochemical cycles from carbon, nitrogen, water, and the impact that has on the quality of the environment around us. Looking at issues such as energy production and the pollution that's associated with that, and thinking about how we can look to new and novel ideas such as nature-based solutions to help us try and solve some of these problems. And as I've mentioned, this degree program has been designed to provide you with the knowledge and the skills to address these key issues. Now, just to take you over some of the course content, and you'll see this in the handbook you've been provided with. Here you can see the modules that are offered in the junior sophomore year, split between semester 1 and semester 2, and you can see based on the color codes here, the green ones are our core modules, the blue ones are the open modules, and then of course you have the opportunity to take a Trinity elective. I'm not going to talk through all of these modules in detail because you can find the information in the handbook, but it's important to stress is that we cover a range of different topics here, looking at the environmental systems that you will find here in Ireland, and the course starts with the Plants in an Irish Environment module, which is a residential field course where we bring the environmental science students together with the botany students on a residential field course to explore some of the environments and the issues surrounding them in Ireland. So we'll look at peat bogs and native woodlands and coastal systems as well. Entwined with all of this, there's modules that cover the ecological attributes of plants and animal systems within these environments, looking at how we can monitor these environments to detect change and detect change at different scales, including how impacts of sustainability influence the environmental dynamics at global scales, for example, in terms of production systems. You'll have the opportunity to think more and discuss more in depth around key environmental topics within environmental governance, and start to think about how we might develop and design experiments and projects that might lead to your capstone project in terms of the experimental design and analysis module. You'll also see there's lots of opportunity in semester 1 and semester 2 to pick some of the open modules that are really of interest to you, and I think that's one of the key attributes of the environmental science course. There is an awful lot of choice that allows you to follow your interests and to select modules that really hold or resonate with you in terms of environmental issues. So you could look perhaps at changing environmental dynamics in geological time, or how marine systems functions, or how plants or fungi contribute to environmental status and the utility of environmental systems by humans, for example. Many of these modules also include other field-based aspects. So the field skills in plant and environmental science module, that is a week-long residential field course that's run in Gran Canaria, which gives you an opportunity to go out into the field to practice these skills, to take the theory that you've learned in the lectures and actually put this into context by applying these skills in a field setting. The terrestrial wildlife and field ecology module is also field-based, that's an Irish-based module, and again it forms a residential field component aspect as well. In the sophomore year, again you can see the difference between the core modules and the open modules, and you'll have the opportunity to learn more about how to utilize large data sets and think about statistical processes in the data handling module. You'll get the key skills that are required by practitioners and consultants looking at environmental impact, for example. You'll think about how to distill and comprehend and disseminate scientific information in the research comprehension module, and also to really address some of the key challenges in environmental sciences in the general environmental sciences module. What's, I think, interesting in that module as well is that we have a whole series of practitioner talks where individuals from organizations and institutes outside of Trinity come in and talk to the students to start thinking about, career pathways and progression. So we have people coming in from the Environmental Protection Agency, the National Parks and Wildlife Service. We have consultants coming in from ACOM, for example, to talk to the students about career progression and pathways and the sorts of attributes that these employers are looking for. One thing you'll also do in the final year is your capstone research project. This is important. This is a 20 ECTS capstone research project that allows you to, again, to undertake some research associated with one of the academics within the school to further your interest and develop your research skills in an area that's of interest. In the open modules, there's another opportunity for more field-based teaching and learning. So the tropical ecology field course, for example, that's run in Kenya, and you'll start to look at East African ecosystems, particularly aquatic systems, the lake systems that are there, the montane ecosystems, and thinking about applying the sorts of understanding that you've developed in terms of your ecological understanding to the sorts of issues and problems that are faced there. There's other aspects in terms of key skills, such as spatial analysis using GIS, that allows you then to develop, kind of key skills that are required by environmental practitioners. I think one point to mention in terms of the delivery of the material on the environmental science program is that it's very broad, it's very diverse. It ranges from classic lectures to kind of small group tutorials. There's student-led exercises in terms of presentations. There's lots of opportunities in terms of laboratory sessions and classes to take the theory and put it into context in different approaches and aspects. And there are many, many field-based exercises. As I've mentioned, there are several modules that are residential field courses, but many of the modules that you might take also have field-based kind of content and skills that are entwined within that, such as the environmental monitoring module, the soil science module, for example, vegetation description analysis. All of these modules have practical, hands-on, field-based attributes as well. One other thing that's a core component of the environmental science degree is the research-led teaching approach. So you'll have the opportunity to engage with academics within the different disciplines within the school that teach onto the program, and look at a range of different kind of research activities that we're all involved with that address some of the key environmental science issues. And that might be looking at different proxies to recreate climates across paleo timescales, to looking at how terrestrial ecosystems influence climate change in the here and now in terms of their contribution to atmospheric forcing. We've got other resources in terms of laboratories and molecular labs. There's a variable line atmosphere lab, there's a Trinity Botanic Gardens, there are many other field-based research platforms such as Clara Bog that you can see on the slide now, and all of these are built into our teaching program to give you the greatest exposure to these sorts of research activities, knowledge, and the skill base. It's also important to think about the learning outcomes as part of the degree. So the whole premise of the degree is to raise awareness of the key concepts, the challenges, and where the research is really going in the field of environmental sciences. That you'll have the skills to help understand, what is good experimental design, how can you answer and address these key questions that you might have to face experimentally, and to allow you to become really competent laboratory-based and field-based researchers. We'll teach you to critically assess, quantify and qualify information from the scientific field to help you address the big picture questions that you might be faced with, and to develop the skills that you need to communicate your work and your science in terms of written, oral, or even numerical skills that can help you work either independently or as part of a team. And all of these will come together, as I've mentioned, to really help the graduates of this program solve the key environmental challenges that society faces today. I think it's also important to talk about careers and career pathways. Many of our graduates stay in the field and work in kind of research both in Ireland and abroad. Some move into the industrial or private sector, or might move into consultancy, for example. Some go to work for government departments and government agencies, really helping that that kind of interface between science and policy development and implementation. Some graduates go outside of the field, but still use their transferable skills to really develop their careers in different areas. I think one other key aspect in terms of linking students with potential employers is that we have a number of internships that are available. Some are in-house and run through the Botanic Gardens. We have other organizations, and we run internships with Intel, for example, as part of their sustainability program. As I've also mentioned, the General Environmental Sciences module is a key module that really links fourth year and final year students with the people working in the field and with the practitioner talks. It's a real opportunity for students to discuss the activities of particular organizations within the environmental sphere and start making those sorts of connections that can develop career pathways further. So with that, I'd just like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation, that you have an interest in environmental sciences. If you have any questions or would like any further information, my email address is here, so please feel free to drop me a line and we'll organize an online chat where I can answer any questions you might have further. Okay, thank you very much.